Hey guys, welcome back to the 1% podcast. I'm your host, Young Sleepy G, and alongside me is Abdullah Kobeissy, bro. How you doing?
Really good, my boy.
We
Another
killed
day.
it. We killed it with the
another
last podcast.
Yes, we did.
We killed it, man.
Indeed.
The last podcast, bro, it just had me saying, I wasn't even talking that much from how powerful the words you were saying.
Bro, it comes from a lot of knowledge. I told you, man. I've been through a lot, and I can relate to a lot of people and what they're going through. So
It's absolutely astounding, man. So
it's good to be here, man.
there's a lot of TikTok clips right now that are just surfacing around what we were saying last week. So we're killing it.
Of course, like at the end of the day, people are seeing what we talk about and they could relate. It's not just another day and then where they're watching something and it's like it's something that they've already heard. It's something that's, we've emphasized on a lot of things that people don't really talk about. We were quite relatable and, we're changing people's lives and we're going to continue doing that, man. That's
Absolutely.
the goal over here. So.
Absolutely. So let's talk about you for a second, because I tried to ask you about how you came up, but the topic deviated a little bit. But now people really want to know, how did you come up? Who is Abdullah Kobeissy? Let's talk about you for a second, because as you said, your inspiration.
You want me to go far in? Hey,
I want you to go far in. I want you to dig in. Tell us about your story from day one.
It's going to be a quite an interesting story.
And
It's
I'm
going to
ready.
be quite big.
I'm ready to hear it.
Whoever's watching this right now better fucking listen. It's crazy.
Of course.
It's something that I would say I'm quite lucky to actually tell my story. Not many people can.
Yeah, I could attest to that, to be honest.
They're either dead
Yeah.
or they'll never jump on a podcast and say it.
Far out.
So that's why right now, if you're listening to this once again, you're hearing shit that many people could talk about, but they don't have the courage to, or they're dead.
I'm getting goosebumps already.
So, I find myself lucky, and don't get me wrong, you might find a lot of people that have gone through a lot, but I genuinely believe that I did get lucky, especially with the story I'm about to share. I did get lucky, and I find myself lucky enough to, be working, be making, money, be successful, be out there, changing the world, making people's lives better. I'm a lucky man, and it's been a journey, and I can tell you all about it. Like, I was born in Iraq, right? And during the time I was living in Iraq, it was a time of war, and obviously, like, I was about 8 or 9 years old, and there was a war going on and it broke out. So it put everyone under a really big situation where Iraq as a country became like a very, a country that was going through a lot, because obviously the economy there was, was breaking down.
Yeah.
It was actually like, it's starting to get damaged a lot. And obviously my family had a business and now no longer they could operate the business because of the war that was happening, because of everything going on there. And at that stage, next minute, you find yourself, struggling, and, my family struggling to put bread on the table, right? It was like that. So we had to go through all that. And then moving from, Iraq, moving to Syria, right? It wasn't straight away to Australia, which is where we are now, but that was another country right now, which I could tell you that my family moved to because of everything that was happening in Iraq. And, before we even know it, things got worse.
So at the time,
Things got a lot harder.
So at the time, Syria was actually a safe place to move.
Syria was a safe place, but I would say not the best place.
Okay.
I would say, like, if you're moving there for a few changes, but
It's kind of hard to imagine with what's going on right now.
yeah, so it wasn't really the most craziest place you're going to move into, no, but we were still struggling. And at that stage, my dad left to Australia before us for 7 years. So I was alone in Syria for quite a long time.
Wow. How did your family cope with that? How did your mom cope with that? How did you?
My mom was struggling, especially without my dad, and obviously, like, I know what my mom went through, especially those times were very, very rough. I mean, now it's like I'm in a way better position.
Of course.
I am, I'm in a position where I could say that I'm giving back to my family. I'm the millionaire in the family, and it's always good to have that. I'm, someone that's quite young for who I am. I mean, till today, my parents don't believe it because they're, it's quite big for them, especially seeing a 23-year-old, you know, successful entrepreneur out there, changing people's lives, doing whatever he wants, providing back to the family.
Absolutely.
It's quite a W. It's
Yeah.
quite a big thing to have. And, you know, I'm capable of that. And I haven't forgotten my background or my culture or where I've come from. I still give back to the people. You know, I obviously like not sharing what I entirely do, but even with charity, I've done a lot of charity work. And although you're meant to keep that to yourself, but it only comes from a place of humbleness and trying to be honest here. I've been through a lot, like, and moving from Syria now after like quite some years to move to Australia, because obviously my dad had to come here first, was really big. It was a big change, because remember, when you live in a country or you live in an environment, what happens is you start to build memories with people. You start to build your environment, right? And changing that environment and moving from that takes time. It's really hard, let alone a country. Let alone a country for years. Let alone in Iraq, your family members, your uncles, your cousins, and people that, you know, have looked after you apart from your dad and your mum, that now you can't no longer see. You can't take everyone on the bus, right? So it was quite big. And then obviously moving to Australia had an impact on me. I was, you know, still young, moving up, working hard, you know, back in Sydney, moved to here, obviously to Queensland. But at one stage, all I wanted to do, this was at a young age, as I was like about 14, 15 years old, you know, I just wanted to give back to my family. By that age, right, and this is what's crazy. If you go to people right now that have gone through war-torn countries, like they've gone through war and they've embraced it and they've went through it, what you'll find about them is their 10-year-old mentality is actually a 20-year-old mentality.
Yeah.
They've gone through a lot. They've seen a lot. I mean, I've seen a tank blow up right in front of me. I've seen a building blow up. I've seen that at a young age, and you know, I'm not scared. I'm not scared of anything. I can embrace and take on anything. I'm quite confident because of what I went through. Right? You can't get the same person here that's spoiled, haven't gone through any of that, and they'll tell you, I'm not scared of anything. It doesn't make sense. You are scared of something. So I did go through that, and then moving here to Australia, I just wanted to give back to my family. And by the age of 15, I had a mindset of a 30-year-old. I wanted to change my family's life, you know what I mean? And I really wanted to change. Now, I wasn't the smartest kid back in school. I wasn't the most intelligent kid. I had my teachers call me out and tell me, like, you need to leave and find a different career, right? And those teachers tried to put me through a lot, but I knew for one split second, right? I knew for every moment that I was the real deal, because you know why? Because I had the mindset at a young age. I was smart with a lot of things. And this is the thing, right? With people these days, what happens? They tend to get into a career, but it's not the career for them. You just got to find what you're good at. Sometimes something could not be for you because you're just not talented enough for it. Maybe you have to develop your skills, and that takes time. But what about getting into something that you've already got skills with, or maybe you're born with a talent?
Yeah.
Right? Messi was born with a talent. Ronaldo wasn't. Ronaldo had to develop, but how long?
Took him a while. Yeah.
So, you know, it's really about finding your skill and what you're good at, and then just, you know, going with that. But moving on with my story, going back to what we're talking about, I went, you know, 15, 16 years old, pretty much really like was going through a lot, especially with school, and wasn't getting the best, you know, report cards. I mean, one of the report cards I received, which is something I was opening in front of my mum, was an enrollment cancellation. You know, like from how bad my academics were. Like the school actually like, and I wasn't actually trying. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah. I just wanted to finish school.
I can speak for that, to be honest. I went to school with them. I went to school with them, and to this day I can't even believe where we are. Like right now,
we went. You've seen what it was, and I mean, he was in the grade above me. So Grashi was in the grade above me, and he used to hear things from teachers that like wasn't the best about me, and I wasn't even in his grade, right? It's crazy. So moving on with that, like it is what it is. I mean, school wasn't for me. You just have to find what you're good at, and I found what I was good at. I'm happy with what I'm good at right now, and hence why I am the man I am today. You know,
absolutely. So how did you find out what you were good at? So what were you good at in the first place that got you to where you are today? Let's talk about that. Because there's a lot of things.
Look, I was a panel beater at one stage.
Yeah.
I worked for NBN Telecommunication Services. I was a butcher. I worked at a meat factory. I got fired from that because I froze my boss in the freezer. That wasn't the best thing to do, but obviously I went through that, and because I was going through a hard time in my life, it was through a number of things. But at one stage, I figured out that, look, I wanna do something completely different. I want to get into the online world. I want to become an entrepreneur. I just wanted to try everything, just to finally find what I'm good at.
Yeah.
And hence why I'm behind the camera today. I'm really good behind the camera. If you hear me talking, you want to listen to me.
Absolutely.
You know why? Because I'm speaking facts, and you know what? The way I picture things and the way I relate to people is quite crazy. Even my own friends have told me, right? Every time there's something that's ever happened, every time something's ever affected their life, if I was to sit with them for 5 minutes, that problem, being a major problem, would become the smallest problem in their life. That's because of the way I talk, the way I emphasize on things, right? And, you know, it's quite imperative to have that. It's quite imperative to be someone that could relate to people, someone that could change people's lives in a way that they could relate to, not just give them advice. Remember, like, if someone's going through something now, they've just had a car accident, right? Or let's say right now someone, you know, let's say they've gone through a car accident and they're injured, right? And they're at the hospital, and you're meant to talk to them and bring them up. You're not going to give them motivation or don't give up. He's not dead. You know what I mean? You're going to talk to him about how to deal with the pain, right? That's something they could relate to. How to work it out, like how to actually, like, you know, practice on, obviously, like, you know, trying to make whatever happened to them a lot less of a shock than what it is, right? Things like that, but it relates to them, right? Giving them a story about someone that's gone through the accident and going through the same thing. See, it's relatable. I can listen to that, right? And that's what it was, man. Like, it's really about relating to people, and I'm really good at that. And people listen to me and they respect me, and I'm a man, as I said, that stands up for what, you know, he says. And I'm a man of honor, and I get that through my religion. I get that through the people around me. I get that through my environment. I get that through the foundation, man. So it's crazy.
Wonderful, man. Yeah. No, let's go back a bit and let's just unpack your story as you were telling me, because, you know, some of the things that you said quite intrigued me. You were talking about, like, you know, seeing a whole building blow up in front of you and stuff like that, seeing a whole tank blow up in front of you. For some people, that can create trauma, that could damage them. But for a very select few, they take that as juice for them to actually push on further and succeed in life. So
I do understand that. I do. But there's a few things that you need to, like, see. People go through hardships. People go through a lot of problems in their life. And even though they go through problems and whatever it is, you can't, look, the thing is, you can't change your narrative. If a problem happens, it's a story to tell, right?
Course, yeah.
You either live a legacy or you're just another person that's gone, right? Your bloodline will only respect you, and you'll only be known for what you stood for here before you're gone, right? And we talk about this a lot. We talk about how the foundation, right, changes your mentality.
Yeah.
Because it sets out the balance for you, right? And, you know, obviously, man, like, there's so much to talk about when it comes to success. There's so much to talk about how after, you know, obviously I got into the entrepreneur lifestyle, how much failure I went through, all of that. It's such a big story for me. But the one thing I could tell you is that because of the way I've, you know, found life and how I, you know, lived my life, I can tell you that I've set that foundation, and I loved setting it up for myself to a point where now I'm sharing it with everyone. Yeah. So yeah, like, man, it's going to be a crazy journey. This podcast is there to change people's lives.
Absolutely.
And, you know, like, at the end of the day, we're here to make the change.
So let's talk about your lifestyle here for a second, yeah, because I've seen so many different stages of your life. Your come up, you working, you getting fired, and you starting on the e-com course. You starting on your e-commerce journey as well, let alone the course, but just making money off e-com. So I just want you to delve into that. How did that change your life? How did you even get started into it?
I was actually, like, moving on with pretty much, like, trying everything that's quite physical, which is the NBN services, working at a meat factory, working as a panel beater, working as, someone that was pretty much working on anything physical, mechanic, panel beating, everything that was quite physical. I was trying to get into it, and it really wasn't something that you could come and tell me, hey man, for someone that is this disciplined at an age that I was, and someone that's quite smart, and if you were to come and ask me, like, I would be doing this forever. No, I didn't want to do it forever. And in fact, my dad was a panel beater. Yeah. My dad was a mechanic, but it wasn't my journey. I realized he was working really hard for what he was getting. And I realized at the end of the day, even if he was getting what he was, deserving of getting, it was still a lot of hard work. So I realized I needed to work smart now. And there goes the thing. Because I knew what I was good at, which is I'm a smart guy and I know what I want and I know what I want to do, right? It made sense that if I work smart for someone that's as smart as me, I'd kill the process, right? Do you get what I'm saying? If you're smart and you're working smart, what's going to happen? Something's going to work, right? So I got into the e-commerce field because I was looking at a lot of entrepreneurs online, talking about e-commerce and whatever. And I realized it's quite a, small risk. Like at the time I didn't have much money. And the last job that I ever had, which was, working at a meat factory after freezing my boss, I got fired. So there was no way back, right? And I realized I was just on my $250 left. I was on $250. I went online, found a lot of courses. I wanted to get in one or two e-commerce courses. Moving forward, got into a course, started up my first store, failed the store, second store failed, third store, $45,000 in 1 month, which is something that's crazy, right? Yeah. Especially for my age. Like,
what year was that?
This was when I was 20.
Okay.
So this was in 2020.
Yeah.
And for someone like me, right, having, obviously that there, right, is crazy. $45,000 in I think it was 2019 or 2020. I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm not quite sure. It was just around there. But like having $45,000 in your bank account was like, boom, I just got paid. You know what? That's crazy, right? For what, a 19, 20-year-old? Yeah. Right? Hooked. That's insane. And I realized, I could do a lot more with this. So moving forward, I made my millions through e-commerce. I did a lot. I became a progressive man, developed myself quite quickly, never slowed down, never got too comfortable. I live as if I'm poor, but I'm rich. So it is what it is. I'm moving that way.
So I'm going to ask you a question, yeah?
Yeah.
When that first check came in, how did it feel? What did you do with it? Because there's certain types of people, like if it was me, if it was my first check, I would have spent it.
It was something that was quite special because obviously like making that sort of money is quite big for my age. Remember, if it was a 35-year-old, bruv, you shouldn't be happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you just made $40,000, but like, is that your net worth right now? You know what I mean? But for a 19-year-old, it was something massive. Or a 20-year-old, just around there, right? But look, I would have to say to you, right, that first paycheck was an amazing feeling. But the best feeling about it was just the start of something big.
Yeah.
I knew that I caught onto something. And when you have that feeling, you've just caught onto something, right? You don't want to let it go because you've just found the real deal. You found something that you're good at. It's working, right? Behind the scenes, it's work, fail, work, fail, work, fail, work, get paid. And that's what happened here. I got paid. But after how long? How much, trial and error? How many other things that I pursued and it didn't work for me? How much careers did I take? How much journeys that never ended up working?
Yeah.
But that journey there was something, when I took it, I realized it's going to be something that's going to last for a long time. And I got into e-commerce. I was a network marketer. I have a marketing team. I have a massive company that I'm running in Dubai. I've, developed myself a lot for a 23-year-old, right? I, drive the cars I want. I fly on the, planes I want. I can, I'm still good enough to fly on just a normal plane, on a, pretty much a business class plane or a normal plane. And the reason why I say I'm good enough is because you find a lot of people that have this sort of money or this sort of whatever at a young age, especially.
They act Hollywood.
They'll never ever come on the camera and say, yo, I take a normal flight interstate. I take a normal flight overseas. But I can tell you that. But guess what? I can also tell you that I can take a private jet that's worth $300K from Australia to Dubai. I'm capable of that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's more about me telling you that there's this balance, and I still do that to tell you that, look, hey, you might not like me for what I do, but at the same time, I do the things you do. It's just a process, man. And the thing is, when you have it, like when you see rich people out there and whatever, what do? Like most of them, they don't wear too much designer, not flashing out too much. And I can do both.
Yeah.
But I like my designer. I like my cars. It's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? It's people see it as you not being humble, but I say that, look, if you're out there trying just to show off, it makes sense. But if you're out there trying to inspire other people, then the whole narrative is different.
Absolutely.
Right? You're trying to deviate people's journey to a better journey.
Yeah.
Right? So why not? And my life, it progressed rapidly. Right now, I'm in a position where I could do whatever I want. Right? I have the best circle around me, and you might think it's the most crazy, successful, circle, but I see successful in a different way, right? And this is what I talk about when it comes to the foundation. I see successful with the 5 pillars that I talk about.
Yeah.
This is why I see my group as successful. I'm not talking about their financial stability. That's not the conversation. I'm talking about them having the foundation, the 5 pillars that we talk about, right? Their role model and who their inspiration is. The second is their mindset. Their mindset is amazing, right? They have a clear, positive mindset. They don't hate on you. They give you the support and the love, right? And that's what you need. Someone that's successful, that's what you need. And you need that by heart. You don't need that by them being fake to you. Number 3 is their health and body. Most of them have a good physique. Most of them train. Most of them work hard, right? That's quite important. And they have, something that I could look up to in many ways from that, right? Number 4 is obviously the environment. And, speaking of the environment, that's the environment I'm around and they're around. If they're around me, then what's the environment? And if I'm around them, what's the environment? It's amazing.
Absolutely.
Right? I can only speak for myself right now. Not everyone's on the table. But what I'm saying is number 5 as well is the education. And, they're open to learning. They learn new things every day. They're developing themselves. This is what matters to me. This is my group, man. Right? And I have that. I have the most amazing group. I can do whatever I want. And I'm happy with that. I'm happy with my achievements. I'm happy with how far I've come and what I've been able to do. And the biggest thing I'm happy about is the fact that which is me right now, I'm in control. God has given me control to help others and change their life, right? So what I'm doing right now is giving a big thank you to God for putting me in such a position now to do that.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the day, you just have to progress. And if I wasn't progressing, then I'd never be on this podcast. Like, who am I to talk about the foundation and the 5 pillars that could change your life when I can't even do it myself? And I was able to do it. That's why I talk about it, right?
For real.
Yeah.
The one thing that I commend you for, because, bro, like, off the camera, we're brothers, but the one thing that I could really commend you for is the fact that when you made it to the top, your ego didn't inflate. You still remained the same guy. But for some people, when they go up to the top, their ego just all of a sudden goes crazy. They act all Hollywood. They basically do sometimes the opposite of what the foundation teaches. So for the people out there who are trying to become successful, once they become successful, how do they not change their mindset into becoming that?
See, look, when you have money, when you have financial freedom, right, it gets to you. And I totally understand that. But there's one thing here, right? When you are financially stable, when you have the capabilities of spending whatever you want on anything, your ego as a person, because us as humans, we're created, right? You can't tell me you can never get jealous of me. You can't tell me you'd never have ego. We're created that way. God has created us that way to have these certain habits. God has created us with certain habits like having an ego, jealousy, having pride, being proud. You have these feelings in you. You can't get them out of you. So if you do have them, it's not a problem. But there's one thing. It's about how far you go with them. If your ego is so big, right, where if other people are doing it less than you and you know they have less capabilities, but you somehow think you're better than them, then man, you got problems. And you know what? Things are just going to hit you one day or another.
Facts.
These people are people you could develop and show you, help in some way and inspire, right? But what are you doing? You're depicting and you're putting it out there that you're better than these people, that in a way, even the friends that you're around, you think you're better than them because you're financially stable. I could tell you now the difference between someone that's financially stable and someone that has a balance, which is what the foundation talks about. In my eyes, the person that has a balance is a lot better and a lot more successful because they've set the foundation, right? This other person that we're talking about is only rich for whatever reason, but they don't have that balance. The way they talk to you, the way their ego is around you, and you talk to them and you can feel the vibration, them telling you, I'm better than you. And this is the problem, right? But guess what happens to these people? And this is the crazy part, yeah? People with ego, most of them, what happens is they put a lot, they emphasize on the fact that they, inside of their head, they have a lot of high expectations. Getting the right girls, getting the best girls, being treated the best, you know, VIP wherever they go. But it's because of their ego. Most of the time, these people find themselves disappointed because their standards are so high and because of their ego, and God uses their ego against them to ruin them, break them, absolutely demolish them. They start being disappointed in themselves day by day. What? She didn't reply to me. What? They're not bringing me into the VIP service. Do they even know what I am? But do you see how that is only affecting them? Because of their ego, because God uses it against them. And this is not what we are for here. This is not what we talk about when it comes to the foundation. The foundation drops your ego. And you know what? I've jumped on a podcast before. I'm jumping on this podcast. And I could tell you right now that when I talk about what I have and my lifestyle and everything, it's not to put you down. If it puts you down, you're only putting yourself down. I'm here to actually show you that, look, this could work. I'm giving you the solution. A lot of speakers come on board and talk to you about their lifestyle and how their lifestyle is amazing and the cars they drive and the girls they get. And you're wondering, how do you even get all this, right? But they never give you the solution. And you're thinking, okay, then what's the point of inspiring me if you're not even giving me the solution and you're not giving me the point. Yeah. But I'm giving you the point. I'm telling you it's the foundation, the 5 pillars that we continue talking about. This is what sets you up. This is what makes you the person that you want to be, right? If I had any person right now to go ask, sit down with and speak and be like, what do you want to be one day? Most of them will tell you someone that's big. But that person's definitely went through a lot of the foundation pillars to be there where they are today. And this is what we talk about many of the time. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So, another thing that I would also like to jump upon is, as you started to become successful, the TikTok started coming through and whatnot. Like, I'm talking about the earlier stages before we even started the 1%. But there were some people that were really positive, but there were some people that resented it so bad, right? The fact that you were up there, they're calling your Lambo a rental because they couldn't believe that you're a 21-year-old with a Lamborghini and whatnot, right? What do you have to say for those who have that sort of negative mindset?
These are the people who staple, like, unfortunately, most of them. You know why? Because the rich only get richer because they take every opportunity, and the poor get poorer because they think every opportunity is a scam. Everything they see, they're negative about. Everything they hear, everything that comes up on their For You page. Why do you think, right? Some people, their TikTok or their Instagram Reels is full of girls and idiots doing dumb shit and pranks, and it really, because it filters what you see. It filters what you want to see. And then you have other people who are quite open to hearing things, who are quite positive. And you see motivational pages come up. You see motivational speakers. You see, you know, for example, the news come up. They want to know what's going on in the world. These people right now, the reason why that is being filtered to them is because the algorithm knows what you want and what you like. So you should be smart enough to understand, having a look at the algorithm, and it sees what you like and what it wants to render to you. It's what you want to be one day. You want to be, you know, obviously someone like that's negative because what you're seeing is something that's not really bettering you in any way. And when you see someone, when I pop up, listen to this, yeah? Scroll, okay, you know, a very, very pretty lady on your For You page. You just scrolled. Scroll 2, right? Scroll number 2, you know, someone doing some dumb shit. You just a prank online or whatever it is. You've watched that for half an hour. Scroll 3, guess what? I'm on your For You page. I'm on your reel. I'm trying to make you the person you want to be one day. I'm trying to help you. Guess what you do? Scroll instantly. And that's the problem with negative people. And you know, if they don't scroll, what happens? And they're negative and their mindset is negative. Open the comment section, drop a mad comment hating on you, right? Scroll. How are these people going to change their life? If they can't even take knowledge in and they always think that, you know, it's something that's not for them, right? Yeah. How are they going to change their life? Do you see? They scrolled, they seen a girl, a very pretty girl. They would have stayed for 20 minutes, but it was a 2-minute video, let's say, right? They would have literally watched it for 20 minutes. Scroll again, it's some funny-ass prank video going on, another 10 minutes gone. But then when I come up on your page and I'm talking to you and I'm telling you, yo, you got to listen. I got things for you. I got news, right? Today is a day where it's a sign for you if I end up on your page and I'm giving you step 1. I'm not telling you start from somewhere. I'm telling you step 1. You scroll past. you're an idiot.
Facts.
So it's up to you, man. At the end of the day, we're here to help you out. We're here to change your life, and we're doing that to give back to the community. We're not asking anything from you. And the foundation does that perfectly. The foundation sets your balance. The foundation talks about how you could be successful before you're successful.
You couldn't have said it any better, to be honest. You couldn't have said it. It gave me goosebumps, man. But the haters out there are probably just hating still, but that's besides the point.
It is what it is, man. At the end of the day, as I said, if we land on your page, it's only up to you to take in the information. Otherwise, someone else is going to consume it, not you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so it was, just to wrap it up, it was a crazy conversation we had. It was a lot to unpack. I know a lot of people are super motivated. I know a lot of people are, I would say, inspired.
Yep.
By how you came up and where you are today. So I'd just like to give you a huge thanks for being here again.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate it.
If you like this podcast, be sure to subscribe to the 1% and also give a follow to Abdullah Kobeissy. Give you a shout
Abdullah Kobeissy 1. I mean, I've got so much accounts now. Everyone's hosting me. So if you find my real account, you find it. But
and you can follow me at Young CPG. Anyways, subscribe.